All right, everybody, this is attempt 2. It kind of just froze for me in the back end, so I wasn't sure if we were actually live or not. Turns out we were, but I don't know. I wanted to just make sure it was working. So attempt number 2, we all survived the Facebook apocalypse here. And I want to give a big shout out to our Wolfpack members who used this to make shit happen. In fact, a couple of our people, we had some private conversations in email and said, where's the opportunity in this? And used it as a way to go and make some sales and things like that. So Facebook's acting a little crazy since the apocalypse for me. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Frankie Finn proudly brings you our weekly Q&A on a Tuesday. So let's get into it. Let's try this attempt again. Taylor says, when onboarding a new client that had a different company doing web design, hosting, SEO for them, does anyone have a procedure, perhaps a Google Sheet, to capture all their login info on their digital asset? Thanks for any wisdom on the subject. Taylor, I think it really depends on your market level sophistication. So if they're not very sophisticated, technology-wise, so I have a lot of old lawyers who just, can barely check their email. So having them get a spreadsheet of logins and all that is really, really complicated. So I recommend, if your market's not sophisticated, just have either you or somebody on your team spend 10 minutes, 20 minutes on a Zoom call and just go through those things one by one. If they're a little more sophisticated, you can send them a video. And I also recommend LastPass, because LastPass is a free plugin that's very easy to share passwords. You save a password, you add it to your vault, then you can send just an individual password to the other person's vault, and they can log in without knowing your password, which is really badass. So Facebook's just got all these pop-ups that are kind of being a pain in the ass behind the scenes. Daniel says, I'm struggling with clients' ad accounts. All has been good, and suddenly clicks and impressions went from falling from over 1,000 a day to less than 200 a day. Remarketing campaigns are nearly dead. Is there anybody who can give me a suggestion on what to do? Daniel, this happens, unfortunately, 100% of the time to your offers. At some point, they're going to fall off, and you're not going to be just crushing it 100%. At some point, every offer will fall off a cliff. And that's why the offer making skill is so useful, because almost always, the first thing I test, I should say, is on Facebook is just try swapping out images. A lot of times people just get bored of seeing the same image. But the second thing is try new creatives and new angles for doing the same thing, because if your campaign suddenly dies off, this is only going to happen to you forever as long as you run Facebook. So you're going to have to find new ways to make old new, and this is something you're going to have to do all the time. So one thing we've done in the lawyer space, and as well I have a friend in the HVAC space, is they have 3 different offers that they run, and they'll just cycle between them so that it's constantly new again. K Elixir, what a cool name. I'm looking for some great books related to marketing. Any recommendations? Yes. Anything Dan Kennedy, anything Jay Abraham, and then the best ones are actually, believe it or not, 100 years old, 100 years old. So Breakthrough Advertising, Eugene Schwartz, Claude Hopkins. Guys like that from the early 1900s that had to sell only through direct mail are worth studying. Pierre, what's the one mindset shift that got you to revenue of 10K per month? Pierre, I don't think 10K a month is really a lot in an agency. For most of you guys, that's 3 to 5 clients. So it's mostly just getting in front of real clients and offering to solve their problems. And the mindset, I think why most people avoid that is because they're afraid of the rejection part of it. If you're not afraid of the rejection part of it, if you just get over that, just try and get out there in front of your real target market and offer to solve problems. And what you'll find is, people will respond. So there's my Facebook just freezing off and on. I hope this is working for you guys, by the way. Ronnie, I want to do something extra for my VA from the Philippines. What do you guys recommend for a gift or something? Ronnie, we send a lot of gifts to our VAs, and the simplest thing I can tell you is go through and check their individual profile and just see what they're into, and you'll get all kinds of ideas. There's ones who are into books. We have ones, so I buy them a book every month. There's ones who are one of ours is pregnant, so we send her little baby stuff, but just make it relevant to what they're already interested. Just find out what they're already interested in and use that as little gifts. Jamil, Add design on-demand services like DesignPickle that are really good at designing based on current winners with little instruction. We test a ton of creative, and filling out 1 to 2 paragraph instruction sets per 1 to 3 creatives we get back is insanely time consuming. Any recommendations on services that can just churn out creative for heavy testing with marketing best practices in mind, doubling down on what works? Jamil, I would say 2 things. Number 1 is no limit creatives. A lot of people seem to like them. I don't use them personally. Number 2 is have like a system and process for testing. So like the first 3 things I test are an image that shows the problem or the symptom they have, an image that shows the result, or an image that shows them together. So if you have like a systematic way of testing, you can reuse instructions, by the way. Oral. Our man. Longer one. Fastest way to roll up a market is joining forces with those who already own the audience. I like that quote from Frankie Finn. Heard it at one of the zagillions pieces of wisdom he love bumps into the atmosphere. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. I'd like to combine that approach with the name, what I call the trigger principle. Usually there happens something specific right before peeps enter a money search into Google. That event trigger is usually finger pointy, I experience. I do dentist marketing. The trigger here could be a younger dentist overtakes a practice from an older one, which is going out of business, and the newborn dentist office owner has to rebuild everything. The previous dentist usually left him an old practice with a subpar website and nearly 0 online marketing. So then the finger pointing would be when the young dentist is building his team because he wants to rebuild the marketing. He searches on Google for the experts in that field as he is looking for an architect that helps him to renovate the practice at home. The small baby is crying, the mother-in-law is waiting, and he has no time to waste. He needs partners. My first dentist client said to me, I literally browsed through hundreds of marketing consultant websites before I found you. He said, I wasted an immense amount of hours trying to structure and reorganize the website. Happy you shortcut that now. This search of new dental practice owners for a new marketing partner seems to be the most common trigger scenario. So the idea would be to find audience owners who get in contact with these practice buyers before they go into the red ocean of Google searches. And so I get recommended to them before they even start the search. I found out there's a certain category of consultants that helps dentists to sell their practices and help younger dentists buying one. They could become my joint venture targets. Would interest me. What's your take on all of that? All right, my man, that's a long question. My take is pretty simple, is like you've actually identified a few potential partners in your own message. One of those are people who design websites for dentists, people who buy and sell their websites. And then I don't think you said it directly, but I imagine like they have to get insurance for a new practice. And so the people who do the insurance are probably worthwhile as well. They're always looking for ways to be helpful to their clients and find new deals. As far as the finger pointy stuff, there's usually like 3 to 5 trigger points. So like, when do people want to lose weight? There's almost like 2 like trigger points, for example, is one is they're going to get married and they got to fit into a wedding dress. And number 2 is they know they're going to be on the beach at some point on vacation, and then they want to get in shape. So like, it's not the only reasons people do it, but if you speak to those underlying things, you'll be very, very powerful. The thing is, you can't guess at these. So the best thing to do is just ask a dentist, like, what made you decide to do this now? Like, why is now a reason why you want to, suddenly build your practice, and you can get all those finger pointy things. But chances are, if you just network with the web designers, the people selling the practice, and those things, what you'll find is they already have that information in one form or another. Or you'll have dentists you can ask that information for and get it. So you can combine all that. And we're actually going to have a mastermind call tomorrow about that exact thing. So we're going to go a lot deeper into that. Zamar, why do the majority of digital marketers avoiding offering their services at freelance marketplaces? I'll say for 2 reasons. One is because that's where you go to price shop stuff, and it's when you're looking for commoditized services. You can find really good high-end clients at freelance places, contrary to popular opinion, but it's harder. It's a more cutthroat place, and you get 100 different messages. You want to go where you can kind of like build a fence around your agency, and you're like a mini monopoly, being the only one who offers what you do. Also, Zamar, hi agency owners, I have a problem to share with you. I'm doing Facebook message marketing for 2 years and I'm not getting success. I'm targeting digital marketing agency owners I offer that I'll make websites for the clients for 40% less rates as compared to other competitors. I have a professional team of 5 members. At the very first message, the agency owner shows their interest and demand our portfolio. When we send them their portfolio, they really like it and appreciate us, but they never come back again. Facebook allows me to send 40 messages a day. That's 1,000 messages per month. What do you think? Where am I going wrong? Zamar, I posted this in another group, the answer, but I wanted to I think other people could benefit. So when you're sending a bunch of messages, in your case, you're trying to reach like white label web design partners. So there could be a couple things going wrong. It's hard to say. Number one is you could just not be messaging, like you need to be messaging busy website owners that have too much work on their plate that are looking for someone to outsource it to. If they don't, if you don't message those people, then no message will work. So first question I would have is like agency owner is like a really broad term. Like you could message me and you'll never ever get a website job from me because we don't do website design. So that's the first thing is like, are you even messaging the right people? Number two is you mentioned as well, where did I see it? You send the portfolio. Well, if your portfolio, one of two things, it either isn't very good or it's just not a match for what they're looking for, that could like cause you to like not have success with it either. And then the third thing I can tell you, the offer of, hey, like we're 40% cheaper, that's what we call a marriage offer. You're basically saying like, I'll do it cheaper, which is not a reason to do it. It's too much. Like I can tell you as somebody who has a bunch of clients, like if I'm trying to hire a white labeler, there's a real risk in hiring somebody who can potentially ruin your reputation. So the biggest thing you're concerned about is how are they going to make you look good. And the easiest way to enter into those relationships is with like a small, little first date. And so the way you do that is not by like saying like, hey, we'll give you 40% off. It's by saying like, hey, let me do one website like really cheap or even for free because I want to be your white label partner for a long time and I realize, you need to see results. So let me show you a result by working together. And yeah, you might get screwed out of some free websites by doing that, but if you just do that a couple times, you're going to have a whole bunch of business. Advice needed. I'm a beginner in lead gen. My current issue is that although I'm generating leads, my customer isn't closing. I'm confident in my lead targeting skills, but it's hard to convince them to do business if they believe it's worthless. What are my options in this scenario, and what can I do to avoid scenarios like this again? The area I'm doing leads for is insurance. Nelson, I forgot to bring up your name, but Nelson, you're going to deal with this forever as long as you're generating leads, just so you know. So there's a couple ways to deal with it. Number one is like I like running referral campaigns first because they can close referrals because they can be slower and all those things. But in general, you have to like really make them aware of this issue right away because they will do stupid things. They will not know how to close. They will just not answer the phone. They will not call people back. They don't understand like how important and how time sensitive every lead is. And so one of the things I found is after 3 months, if they say to you they're all bad leads and you try and argue with them, it just sounds like backpedaling and they don't believe you and they don't trust you and it won't work. But if you do it at the very beginning where you say, hey, like we want to correct this issue right away. And so we've built phone training and scripts and like checklists, like you got to call people back in 3 minutes. It's not perfect, but if you're going to have to ultimately help them get through the hurdle of being able to close on the phone because they don't even know they're bad at it most of the time. That's the honest to God's truth, is it's a problem they don't even know they have. Most small businesses are just really terrible at answering the phone and don't even know it. And I just experienced this the other day because we're closing on some land and I talked to a real estate lawyer and it was basically like the equivalent of saying like, well, what do you want? Right? Like, what the hell do you want? And then they don't realize why they can't close any business. So this is like really, really common. Brian, hello, Facebook experts. Quick question. I have a client that's a high-end chiropractor that offers a service technique that most standard chiros cannot provide. With that being said, he has entrusted me to run ads for him so he can generate high-quality leads for this premium service. He does not have much competition, and I'm unsure if I should run a lead magnet first and then retarget it with a direct offer, or just start with a direct offer to approach, grade out, ad copy, and a creative and a demonstration video. Please, any feedback is appreciated. One of my first clients. Brian, before I build like a whole lead generation funnel and all those things for a client who may not stay, like just make the sexiest offer you can make and go straight at it. And in my experience, like validate that before you go through and build a bunch of moving pieces. Having said that, all the moving pieces you described will work and will make it better, but don't, like, if you build funnel first and offer second, what ends up happening is you can build a funnel that goes nowhere and converts no one. If you build offer first and funnel second, then what happens is the funnel amplifies what's already demonstrated to work. And the best thing to do is actually just talk to, if you can, the people who buy that specialty service and ask them why they bought it and what their concerns were, and figure out an offer to, like, just make it, like, really irresistible, and then put that out in the world. And then you'll be able to clone that for other chiropractors who offer that as well. So I think I'm frozen in time here. I don't know, like, Facebook's just been really glitchy for me today. I don't know if you guys are seeing it glitchy on your end. I can't even see. Comments are frozen, my video is frozen, so I hope this all worked. But if it didn't, maybe I'll make a little private video for you guys later and just upload it that way. But yeah, we're frozen in time. So that's all I got for you guys this week, and check out the replays on YouTube, and may the force be with you.